James Brickhouse. I should be studying for my algebra test, but I'm engrossed in Jackie O, this tell-all biography of one of my icons, Jackie Kennedy Onassis. It's 1983. I'm a freshman at Monsignor Kelly High School, and I am in Sister Barbara Ann's study hall, which she keeps as quiet as a library. So Sister Barbara Ann excuses herself to go to the bathroom, and as soon as she leaves, I hear, and I look to my right, and there's a spitball. And I hear snickering behind me. Heh, heh, heh. I ignore it and keep reading Jackie O. Another spitball. But this one lands with the F word. Not festive, not fabulous, not fierce, all of which I am, but I don't know yet. But that classic slur for homosexual, which I've already heard many times in my 15 years. And I'm like, how do the bullies always know? Yeah, I'm gay. I don't know. Was it Jackie O that gave me away? Another spitball, and it hits the back of my neck. And I know who's doing it. It's this senior jock a-hole. Let's call him Dickie Clampett. And I have been bullied many times ever since I was a kid. You know, sand kicked in my face. I was pushed into an anthill, a fire anthill, the kind that bite. But you know what? I never retaliated. I kind of took Jackie O's lead. I mean, despite all the tell-all biographies like the one I'm reading and the insults hurled at her in the press, she never lashed out. She always took the high road. Like Jackie O, I turned the other cheek. Now, one of my other icons was Joan Crawford, the movie star, not the mother. And in some of her sassier roles, whenever she was insulted, she slapped them or threw a drink in their face. Once in an interview, she said, "Sometimes it's fun to play the bitch." Another spitball hits Jackie O, the book, not the person. And the library silence of the room is starting to be pierced by whispers and titters, but I keep my head down so I can't see which of my classmates are enjoying my humiliation. But as the spitballs mount, I think I'm gonna have to do something. And I'm embarrassed remembering all the times I did nothing. Like when I was in junior high and I was in the hallway after school and it was just me and I was in front of my locker and these two boys in football jerseys rounded the corner and one of them pointed at me and said, "What is it, a girl or a boy?" And the other one said, "Beats me." And then they just started laughing. And I stood there frozen with fear in front of my locker until they went away. And the worst part about that moment was the shame I felt about myself because I didn't stand up for myself. Another spitball hits me in the hair. I add it to the growing pile. I'm like, do I just sit here and tolerate it? Or do I change seats so I'm out of his range? WWJD, what would Jackie do? Earlier that year, I had lucked into a parentless house party where the underage drinking was flowing, and I had just filled my red Solo cup with some spiked punch, and this kid, Chris, came up to me, and I hadn't seen him since I was in elementary school, and he was a redhead like me, and he was so drunk, his eyes were as red as his hair, and he threw an arm around my neck, and he said, "Hey, y'all, look who's here!" And I smiled at the instant camaraderie, thinking I was, finally belonging. And he said, "It's Red AIDS. Y'all know what gay stands for, don't you? Got AIDS yet?" I wanted to throw my underage drink in his face, like Joan, but I just slipped from under his arm and disappeared from the party in shame. Sister Barbara Ann returns to the classroom, and as soon as she does, I turn around and a spitball hits me in the face. And Dickie Clampett mouths, "Bullseye." I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to change seats. And I stand up And I look down at the pile of white paper that's soggy with Dickie Clampett's saliva, and I freeze for a few seconds. But not in fear, in anger. WWJD. What would Joan do? And I gather up all those spitballs, and I walk over to Dickie Clampett, and I hold my clasped hands over his head, and he looks up at me and shoots me, "You better not look." And then I open up my hands, and a hailstorm of spitballs rains down on his bulbous head. "Sister Barbara Ann, did you see what he did to me?" I said, "Sister Barbara Ann, I am merely returning these spitballs to their rightful owner. As Joan would say, sometimes it's fun to play the bitch." Thank you.
James Brickhouse, everyone. Give over James Brickhouse. Thank you, James. Thank you for your story. Thank you so much.